to Venture Café Presents. I'm Christine Dunn. Joining me today is Justin Kang. He's the Executive Director of City Awake. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
So Justin, tell us a little bit about City Awake. What was the genesis behind this organization?
So City Awake, we're trying to build an impact ecosystem here in Greater Boston. It's really modeled after the many efforts in the technology community to break down the silos to connect entrepreneurs to investors, government officials, academics to the startup community. My first job out of college was at Mass Challenge in 2009. And if you ask anybody before 2009 to describe the technology community, I think they would often say very siloed, sort of top-down exclusive. But 6 years later, because of initiatives like Mass Challenge, Venture Café, you see the technology community be much more accessible. Our hypothesis is that if we can create similar sector-building initiatives around the social enterprise and nonprofit sphere, that can make a huge difference in terms of moving the needle around different social issues. So what we're trying to do is break down many silos, whether it's connecting philanthropists to the entrepreneur, to connect similar youth development serving organizations to each other to create more collective impact solutions. We're trying to be that backbone organization to help facilitate all that interactions.
So when you think about impact, what kind of impact do you hope to have on the social entrepreneurship community?
We hope that eventually that we can create a real robust impact community. For us, it's about changing the dialogue. I think still traditionally most people think impact is this fad or this trend. But when the governor of Massachusetts, Governor Patrick, he could easily ran for president, but he decides to start this impact investing fund at Bain Capital, we think that the trend is starting to become an official economy. So we think that as much as someone starts a business, they care about the revenue, they're also going to care about their societal impact just as much. So it might still seem hokey right now, but we think 5-10 years down the line, that's going to be sort of just assumed that as just as important. So we hope to lead that dialogue there.
What do you think is driving the demand for creating social entrepreneurship enterprises?
I think it's largely that it's just a lot to be seen in terms of just how the world is right now. And I think there's been, thought process around how social change happens now that you started a nonprofit. It's very direct service. And there's, I think, a demand now to use these technologies, these new sort of things that we learned in the for-profit sector to broaden it out more, to make it sort of universal and not just limited to just like high-tech enterprises, but how can a high-tech enterprise also do social good as well? And not just about like, hey, let's start a soup kitchen, which is all completely admirable, but how else can you maximize that as well using technology? Our theme, our motto is to experiment till it hurts a lot. We're trying out many different programs and projects from accelerators, classes, workshops, competitions, mini funds. We have 6 sort of pilots happening right now, and we hope that in year 2, year 3, year 4, we get to understand our core competencies. We want to make sure that people realize that it's not just a festival, but what we're trying to do is build this ecosystem more than anything.
Wonderful. Well, Justin, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
Venture Café Presents.
Awesome. Thank you so much.